Welcome in. It is Trinity Report post Week 10. Back with Ray. It's an interesting week. We had some trades. We had players that got moved. So appreciate everybody that's tapping into this. If you are watching this, you're getting it before everybody else if you are a member of the Trade and Chill tier on the YouTube page. So appreciate you guys for subscribing. You get Dynasty Deal Show and you get the Trinity Report every week if you are a member. If not, consider becoming a member. Link is in the description of any of the DDFFB videos as to how to be a member. And for those that are watching this before Wednesday, we have our mega stream coming up tomorrow night. It will be Ray. There it is. Mid-season mayhem. It will be all of us, Ray, Jay, myself, Shane, Brandon, and Ty will be on the mid-season mayhem from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern-ish. It may go a little long. Who knows? But it'll be fun. Some giveaways, some perks for members, a live Dynasty Deal Show. We'll talk some 26 rookies. We'll do some trivia, play some games. It'll be a blast in between Week 10 and Week 11. So tap into that. It'll be free on YouTube for everybody. But obviously, if you want to become a member, there might be some perks there.
Let's hook you. Let's hook y'all up too, right? Scott. Let's hook y'all up too. Let's show the other one. There we go. There you go. There's some other people, right?
Man, we all got to hit the gym in that picture, bro. We got to all hit it.
It's the shirt, Scott. It's the oversized shirt. It's the shirt. It's the shirt. But no, it's going to be fun. Pull up this Wednesday. We're going to have a good time talking all things Dynasty. And I'm sure we'll talk receivers, rookies, startup stuff. It's just to give back to everybody who supports us and to give our thoughts as we inch closer to the end of the fantasy season. But we do have usage and opportunity, disappointments and letdowns, and more question marks as we go into Week 11, Scott. Week 11. It feels like it was just preseason. And we did this show in Week 1. You can't take too much away from it. Not enough data. The usage. Week 2, not enough use. Now we're in Week 11. So let's talk about it, right? Let's talk about it. And we kind of do the same thing every show. We look at the overall week. Leader in usage, not leader in fantasy points. If we look at like leader in fantasy points on the week for the receivers, I mean, Trey McBride way at the top. You got Tez up there. London had a great week. Puka, J-Mo, Jalen Naylor, Kittle had a big week. But as far as usage on their team, the person that led the way once again was Jackson Smith-Njigba. But now, Scott, little caveat here. They didn't throw the ball much in Seattle. And there weren't many receivers to contribute outside of JSN and Cooper Kupp, but still getting all of the usage for his team, as was Jalen Waddle this week. Both of those players over 10 in usage. They just got it all. It was all of them and very little things else happening in the offense. I know Malik scored a touchdown, but other than that, there was nothing else happening. We got some players that are real low this week. High in usage, low in fantasy production. Tetairoa McMillan just lives in this range, but DK Metcalf is down here. Jacoby Myers is down here on his new team, and Calvin. Every yellow is just the Steelers. Just an awful, dreadful week for Pittsburgh. So where do you want to go? How do we help the people out? What are we talking about? Where do you want to start?
Well, I think let's just start with this. So before we get into specific teams or specific players, there's basically 4 weeks left in the fantasy season, right? There's playoffs, obviously, if you make it, but it's a 4-week run between now and the end of the regular season where you're trying to find edges. There's a few bye weeks coming up in Week 11 and Week 12, but I think we're starting to get to the season, Ray, where teams that are out of it, they might start maybe slowing down the usage of certain players, and other guys maybe start to ramp up a little bit. Teams that are out of it may start, I don't want to say sitting players, but you may see some business decisions with injuries or quarterbacks sitting down. So just want to keep that on everybody's radar. I did update the offensive environment scores this week, and I just wanted to throw out a couple that were interesting to me. So these are the ones at the very bottom. I think everybody knows to avoid them, but the few that, might have a name or two that pops on the radar, the Raiders, the Titans, the Jets, even the Ravens popped in there, Ray. I don't know if we've looked at any Ravens Trinity in a while, but that's not a good environment for pass catchers, and they have a lot of them. So I know I talked to Zay Flowers last week, but aside from him, that's probably not the environment where you want to continue to chase a tight end or a second receiver, etc. And then at the top, On the contrary, the Patriots continue to be up there. The Colts are still up there. The 49ers, if you can ever figure out what that is, that's one I'm willing to continue to attack throughout the year. The Bears, surprisingly, Ray, the Bears have entered into the top 8. Maybe they're starting to figure things out a little bit. So that's one to look at. But there's a few interesting names that I've already seen pop up on the screen. Let's go to the Patriots because you notice that Mac Hollins at the 9.83. I want to talk a little bit about Mac Hollins. So let's go to New England first. What do you notice if you just look at week 10?
Mac
What
Hollins.
did we talk about all year with? We had some Diggs, we had some Boutte, we had some Hunter Henry, and then, Boutte's out now. All of a sudden, Mac Hollins is on the radar. This is a career, I don't want to say a career scrub because that's probably not the right word, but we might actually have an opportunity the next week or two. I know they have a bye coming up, I believe, in week 14. But this is the ripe environment to say, you know what, if I have to throw in the third or fourth guy, that's probably the guy. It's not necessarily Kyle Williams. I know he had that big touchdown play, which was great. But Mac Hollins feels like one of those Alec Pierce types, you know what I mean? Where for a week or two, I can probably get him for very little because he's a career journeyman, and you could do worse starting him in your flex. The Patriots are one of those environments that I want to find opportunity for cheap, and it's probably not Diggs. It's probably not Hunter Henry. You're probably not wanting to pay what somebody would want now for Kyle Williams after his first big game.
And let me just
probably Mac Hollins.
Well, Kyle Williams isn't on the screen because we have it filtered to players who have less than, I think it's 5 or 10 receptions collectively on the season. Don't pop up, but I might change that so he can be in here. But he had 2 catches on the game? 1 catch?
I think he only had 3 targets. So it's
3
it's
targets.
Not like he'd probably be one of those where he's above the line because he had the big touchdown.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of yards.
Probably way below Hollins and Diggs. So,
yeah. We
out there.
We try to keep it uncluttered, so if they don't register a collective number of opportunity, it doesn't factor into the display. But yeah, Mac Hollins, where's he at the last? Let's just go last. I want to go last month or something of the season. Maybe that's too far down because I think where's he? He's right here. 5. Well, 4, 9, 6.
Go 6 to 9, and just think at what it looks like. Because I was playing with that a little earlier. Go to 6 to 9, and this is just the 4 weeks prior to this week, right? He was starting to creep up there.
Yeah, there he is.
He was at a 7 or a 4.9. It really started to cluster, right? Like with Boutte in there, there were probably too many mouths to say I want to start one of the non-Diggs guys. But now with Boutte out, like he's probably the best bet. But even in that 4 weeks before the Boutte injury, he wasn't the 6th option. You know what I mean? He was a fairly strong option, and he's taking advantage of the fact that there's now an injury. So it's not a long-term play, but I think if you're searching for a cheap receiver, like you know who I'm going to chase? I'll give you an example. You know who I would start Mac Hollins over, Ray?
Who's that?
Jerry Jeudy.
Really?
Jerry Jeudy finally had a good game, but look at the environment that he's in, right? Now, I think Jerry Jeudy's probably a better receiver than Mac Hollins, and he's probably going to get a bigger piece of the pie. But what is the pie? What's the quality of pie you want to bet on? I'm not chasing a 5-point week. I'm chasing a potential 20-plus point week. You're probably not getting that in an environment like the Browns. You know what I mean? More likely you would get that in somewhere like New England. So when you're thinking about those flex decisions and you need to pull an upset or you need to put up a big score, this is one of the offense that I would highlight. And he's probably the target because of where he's likely valued.
Yeah, I think it's still when I'm looking at New England as a whole, you can tell it's a good situation because there's nobody below the line. I mean, I don't know who that is. Austin Hooper, doesn't matter. Everybody, but there's still no true guy. I mean, Stephon Diggs, 6'4" overall usage score, 12 points per game. I think there might be some other places where I would throw the dart before I would throw it in New England. I don't think anything that you're saying, there's nothing that you're saying is wrong. it is a good environment with a good quarterback who I've been looking at this metric over on True Media, third and long conversions, like third and long attempts and conversion percentage. Drake May's, I believe, number 1 or number 2 in the NFL, 3rd and 7 or longer, and first down conversion percentage, which that means they're throwing the ball down the field. Some of the low bottom quarterbacks, it's Carson Wentz, it's ironically Patrick Mahomes is at the bottom, it's Dylan Gabriel, it's Justin Fields, it's teams that don't even let their quarterback throw on third down. I wouldn't feel great about Hollins week in and week out because it's still a weekly crapshoot with who's going to get the ball. And if Boutte is back this week, I think if he's back this week, it's just one of those spots where it feels like more of a desperation play if Boutte is back. If he's out, I'd feel a little better about it. If he's out again, I'd feel a little better about it because it is a good situation. I guess I just don't know what Boutte, where his availability is going to be this week.
Yeah, he said his injury wasn't long-term, so I would expect he's probably close to returning. So you may only get one more game where he's not playing. This is more of I'm literally searching for a body, and I don't want to pay anything more than a fourth to get it, or I want to give you just something that I'm not using for it. I mean, that's how low we're looking here for finding a starter. If you have a guy on bye or you have a guy that's injured, I mean, we're not talking about anything appreciable. That's the reason that I would do it, because if you want to go buy somebody better,
yeah,
you may feel a little better about them long-term, or you may think they're just a better player than Mac Hollins, but I feel like he's the one that...
Yeah, he costs you nothing.
If you're in a lineup league and you get an offer for Mac Hollins, you're like, holy shit, an offer for Mac Hollins.
Yeah, 100%.
It doesn't even matter what it is. If it's a fourth, 100%. You're like, my goodness, I can replace that on waivers. So
I'm with you.
We're lowest common denominator play.
With you. Okay. All right. Where are we going now?
New players on the radar. Let's go to the Jaguars with Jacoby without Brian Thomas.
Yeah, let's go to Jacksonville. No BTJ, no Travis Hunter. Any word on the injury that he suffered? Do we have any news on what that was yet? Or are we still in the dark with Travis Hunter?
Nope. It sounds like he's probably likely to return this year at some point, but I don't know if that's going to be... I mean, according to Jeff, it was basically like it's not going to happen for the fantasy season more than likely. So if it's like at the very end, fine, but I'm not factoring him for fantasy anymore. That's why the Jacoby Myers deal was pretty interesting. And, the BTJ injury kind of came out of nowhere. I think they ruled him out like Friday night. So it wasn't one where he's questionable. Like they already knew. So I'm wondering if maybe BTJ misses another week and you get this usage again. I don't know. What are your takeaways? I mean, Myers got pretty good usage in a spot where he had been with the roster for 5 days. He's already stepping in and getting pretty good usage. But
he had 3 targets, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had 3 targets. Parker Watt. We talked about this last week. I was very skeptical on the Myers fit. I don't think he's that caliber of player to come in and just command it. I do not. I was puzzled by the deal when I saw the trade. I was on Bleacher Report. I told Jay Rich and Kurt Benkert, I was like, I think this is like a C move. I think it's a C move. What I've seen this morning, when people went back and pulled the tape, it was Mike Renners and it was big-time people saying that Parker Washington is for real. And he was fed 7 targets. He only caught 3, and I know Myers had 1 called back. I know he had 1 called back. But it was pretty clear to me that Parker Washington was still the go-to guy. My big takeaway is I think I want P. Wash, and not just for this week, not just for I want to see how this plays out. If I am able to trade for him for nothing, and let's look, you look at the screen, there's one guy above the line. Trevor Lawrence was god awful. He completed 13 passes. So there wasn't a lot of pie to go around. And of wide receivers and tight ends to get the ball, I think there were 3 non-running backs that received the reception. That was it. It was Washington, Myers, and Hunter Long, I believe, or Munt, whoever the other.
Hunter Long was also out. So they were
Austin.
They were effectively down coming into the year. They were down almost everybody they anticipated to be there from day one.
Everyone. So the pie wasn't huge. So I don't want to overreact to where Washington is on the screen versus other teams and other players, but I think this is their wide receiver one, Scott. I'm ready to go on record to say that without a healthy Brian Thomas Jr., and even when he comes back, this may be the P. Wash show the rest of the way. That's where I'm at. That is where let's look at Jacksonville. They went on by week 8. Let's just go week 6 through 10. 6 through 10. And the leader, there's Myers there for his usage with Las Vegas as well. But the leader 6 through 10 in usage is Parker Washington. It's P. Wash. It's higher than that of BTJ, and I know there's missed games here. But the one consistent in this offense when he's available is Parker Washington. That is the one player it seems like Liam Cohen has the faith to allocate targets his direction, and Trevor Lawrence doesn't have the fear to throw the ball to him. He can win quickly. He's a good separator off the line. I don't know what his long-term value is, but he's not like an old guy. He's like 24 years old. He's 24. He's been in the system, and he's earned the trust of the staff. This is one I'd be willing to buy into for this season, and I'd ride this in the offseason and see what they do.
Yeah, it's interesting because I picked up some Tim Patrick. I still have some Diami Brown. Like, those guys kind of feel like they're lost on the offense. But at the same time, like you're saying, right now you're taking Parker Washington clearly over Jacoby Myers, right?
Yes.
Straight up.
Yes.
Okay? And they're both far enough into their careers
Yes.
where it is what can you do for me today and nothing else matters. So you're saying you'd add to Jacoby Myers to get Parker Washington.
No, I'm not. I don't think they're that caliber to where I'm not adding all. That's not how I'm trying to get P. Wash. I'm not trying to do that.
What if you have one over the other? Do you care? Like I have Jacoby Myers on a team. I'm planning on starting him because I
wouldn't care. If I have him, I would. Okay. The answer, it's not turning Jacoby into Washington. It's I want Washington regardless, right? Like if I can get him, I want him regardless. Period. Has nothing to do with Jacoby Myers. If I have Jacoby Myers, I'm not trying to sell him because he is there, and I do think there's opportunity there for him. I mean, he got opportunities too. I'm saying that in the hierarchy,
so it's an either or.
Right.
If you could choose, you would take Washington over Myers.
Correct.
You're not actively trying to add a third to your Myers to get Washington.
You're talking about probably 12 point per game players, and if one of them scores a touchdown, then you're getting a little bit of bonus. But these aren't the 25 point per game guys that I need to go get. It's inside of an offense where you feel like you need to start somebody in the mat. It would be Washington would be the one for me, followed by Jacoby Myers.
And it's a dead in the middle in an offensive environment.
Exactly.
So they do some good things, but there's also not a quarterback that's elevating anything. And quite frankly, like they could get Brenton Strange back in week 12, and then they have Diami Brown, and then they get
BTJ,
Brian Thomas back, and all of a sudden there's 6 dudes again.
And you know good and damn well Trevor Lawrence can't support that.
The pie is not split in its 6 ways.
No. Let's just go to a sad one real quick. Look at this, man.
I had 2 other teams that came to mind when you said sad, but they're all in the same mold. But go ahead.
Look at this.
Fine.
Carolina. I talked about this last week. McMillan is getting as good of usage as you can ask for inside of this awful environment.
Go to the season. If you want to get a literal picture of what this look at the season. It is one guy, and then it's like, can we just delete every other player off the team?
Hold on. I just need to see that visually one more time. So you're like, oh, yeah, week 10, look at that. A lot at the top.
Well, that JT Sanders is coming on, right?
Hey, JT Sanders is there. And then you look at the entire, like, what is this, Scott? Like, how, without any environment score, without looking at Bryce Young's stats, what can you tell about this? Do you even want a Leggett? And this is why. Let's have some real talk here, Scott. This is why when I hear people hyping up second and third options on environments like this, it's in one ear and out the next. You never once heard me utter the words, it's Jalen Coker season. Not one time. I love me some JT Sanders, but I realized very, very early this season this was not going to be the environment for a third option to thrive. Like, this is why if the environment is not conducive, right? And you see this and you're like, damn, McMillan's, Trinity. This is one of the higher Trinity scores across the NFL this season, right? And that doesn't mean he leads the league in routes. He's not leading the league in yards and targets. But what he's asked to do on this Carolina Panthers team is in the upper echelon of what top-end receivers get asked to do for their team. So he's commanding it all here in Carolina. You can't ask for better usage, but the quarterback is the problem, Scott. You got a guy who can barely get to 100 yards, and McMillan is getting like 50% of it, and it still is equating to a grand total on the season of 11.98 points per game. Parker Washington has given me that.
Yeah. I mean, without even looking at anything else, like what you can tell by this Trinity score is that there is room for somebody else, and the Panthers don't know who that somebody else is. They've tried many different things. They've tried Jimmy Horn. They've tried Hunter Renfrow. They've tried Bryson Tremaine, David Moore. They have 4 tight ends that have worked in there. Jalen Coker came back, and I think that's the reason people like Jalen Coker is because they said Leggett stinks and they don't have anybody else, but Jalen Coker has done zero to separate himself from any of those other guys. So this is one of those situations where, and I think we talked about it the other day in voice chat, right? Wouldn't be shocked if the Panthers draft another receiver. Third straight year they go round one receiver. And here's the problem. Does the environment change from a quarterback perspective? Looking at this screen, do you even want them to add another receiver to this room?
I saw a mock. I think it was, I don't know who put the mock out. It was Trevor Sikkema last week because I reviewed it on my channel. Had them taking Carnell Tate at 16. If you don't change the quarterback, it ain't going to matter. He's going to be below the line too. He's going to be an expensive toy. And you know where McMillan is trending? He's trending. You know who else lived down here for like 2 years, 3 years? Drake London, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, George Pickens, Terry McLaurin. They were all heavily utilized, but in this kind of quadrant, but just below the line because they had inefficient quarterbacks. This is a sad situation. It's a sad situation, and every week it looks the same. There isn't a weekly time frame we can snap to where somebody's going to be higher to the right than McMillan and lowered and below and above the line. They're always below. No, he's never been above. Maybe there was a week where he had those 2 touchdowns where he's above, but by and large, this is just a bad situation, Scott, all the way around. All the way around.
And their neutral pass rate is 26th, which means they don't want to throw. Their efficiency when they throw is 26th out of 32. And they don't play like at an enormous pace or anything. So it's like the environment, even for Tet, is bad. But then you have this extreme deconcentration of all the other targets. I mean, I think I saw the thing where Bryce Young he has every single game this year but one. He has thrown the ball over 24 times for less than 200 yards. You don't even need to know any of these numbers to go if he's averaging 20. I think he's averaging around like 27 and a half pass attempts a game, and he's averaging less than 170 yards a game. So just do the math, right? 170 divided by 27, what is every target even potentially? A 5-yard out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no meat on the bone.
None.
You're almost just begging for somebody to make a play after the catch or get a touchdown, and that's it. And the only guy that even has the opportunity is Tet. So it's ugly. I don't know how to fix it. You can't. Football talk. You think they threaten Bryce at all with his job next year, or do we get another year of they're halfway in? They got too early to cut him.
No, they've. I think he's on the roster, no doubt. But they absolutely need to get competition in. Whether that's
is he the starter day one?
I think it's a camp battle.
Is this where they bring in somebody that is competent to push him and say, if you're not better than this Marcus Mariota or someone like that, you're not starting?
If the guy they bring in is old, Bryce will start the season. If it's Joe Flacco, just say it's Flacco. Bryce will start, but his leash will be super tight, right? It will be super. If it's a Mac Jones, if it's somebody like that, I think it's a full-on camp battle. If they find their version of Daniel Jones, if they trade for, I don't know what it is. I think it's a battle that Bryce Young is not afforded. You're guaranteed to start week 1. No. Not if things don't turn around.
There's two names I want to put on people's radar. One, Jacoby Brissett, because he played at NC State. He's a free agent. This is his audition right now, right?
Okay.
Like this is his audition to at least get one of those competitive backup level deals. But let me throw another one. This could be a wild one, but I was just thinking about it the other day. What about Geno Smith in Carolina, back with Canales? That's assuming you don't think Geno Smith's completely cooked.
Look at that. Look at that Raiders Trinity in week 10.
I know.
I just wanted to bring up how bad it looks. Look how bad it looks. You know who this dot is way back here? Deontay Thornton, Brock Bowers.
Yeah, are we going to the Raiders now? Are we going to highlight how about terrible a suggestion that Geno Smith is?
Tyler Lockett, you interested in it? You talked about Mac Hollins. Hold on. You talked about Mac Hollins being a cheap, no cost option for a spot start. What about that Lockett?
Do you know how bad the other receivers they have, like Besh and Thornton, have to be for Lockett to get traded there? Or not even traded, cut by the Titans, who are the worst environment in the league. And he signs with the Raiders, and he is their top option immediately. I mean, I don't even know what to do with this. I don't know what you wanted to highlight on here. I mean, other than Brock Bowers, he had a bad game. Everybody knows that. But
it was a bad week. It was a bad week, right? Bad week. There's nothing. There is nothing to highlight besides Tyler Lockett's name popping up in good usage category. I don't expect Brock Bowers to go out there and get 3 targets for 1 catch again. I don't think that's going to happen. Arizona, Scott, people were excited about Marv's breakout in week 9, and he did score a touchdown in week 10, but there wasn't a lot of usage there. Now, who did he face in week 9? Who did he face in week 9? Dallas.
He faced Dallas, but look at the 9 and 10 Trinity for Arizona. What do you notice? And then after this, we'll go to 1 through 7. So just look at 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
This is we've looked at Arizona 3 or 4 times already this year. This is the same Trinity every week, right? Marv and McBride are getting the usage. There's nobody else. And then go to 1 through 7. Just what do you notice difference between? Because I think 8 is when Brissett came in. Let's go to 1 through 7. What do you notice? Yeah. Usage isn't any different, but the production was higher.
Yeah.
With the quarterback change.
With Brissett.
So this is in real time getting to see
that's cool.
What the perception of Kyler needed to go away for the weapons to actually produce better. And that has been true for the first 2 weeks. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about here, but I thought that was interesting.
That is interesting. And I'm just looking, Michael Wilson has been a little better. Yeah, I mean, McBride has just been on another planet with Jacoby Brissett, and he should have had an even bigger day. He had a touchdown called back in that game due to something. I think it was like a legal formation or some crap like that. But man, McBride is just a hammer, just an absolute hammer of a tight end. Scott, he is thriving with Jacoby Brissett. This is working very well. So yeah, not a lot of takeaways besides you can see the real time flip when you go those time periods. Pre-Jacoby Brissett, and then with Kyler Murray. That was kind of cool to see.
What else is on your mind? Any other teams pop in? We could look at the Steelers. When you said bad ones, I was thinking Steelers and Jets. Those were the worst that I've pretty much ever seen.
Yeah, well, let's look at the Steelers from week.
Oh, yeah, put the Jets up here just for some humor for the Jets.
Put the Jets on with them?
I mean, put
I
the
mean,
by itself.
where did
Just
they
'cause
even go?
I've never seen a
I don't
Trinity
even.
that low.
Holy. Let me get Pittsburgh off for a minute. Are you kidding me?
It means buy Isaiah Williams.
What is this?
Kidding.
What Scott. I have never seen one this bad. Ever. No names printed. Nobody above a 4. Above a 3.
I mean, normally there's somebody that was in like usable range, but there wasn't here. And we already know the pie was small. What did Fields have? 12 yards passing that was not to Bryce Hall on that screen?
Yes.
So the pie, I mean, this was a crumb.
Wow.
This wasn't even a pie. This was a crumb. And now Garrett Wilson's out for a month.
The answer is no. I told you, remember we were talking about it? I don't want any Jet not named Bryce Hall. And this has nothing to do with Mason Taylor because I think Mason Taylor is good. I don't want any Jet not named Bryce Hall. Period.
Is this even if I have Mason Taylor, I'm questioning whether I should put him in?
You can't play him. You can't play him. It has nothing to do with Mason Taylor. This is bad. You should be able. I've seen Mac Jones drag up the corpse of Kendrick Bournes of the world. You know, you see Trevor Lawrence throwing it to Austin Trammell. This is bad. They're going to draft a new quarterback. I talked about it in the video. They're drafting a new quarterback or finding a new quarterback. This is, I don't know where they are on the offensive environment. I can tell you this. I know that the New York Jets are second to last in the NFL in third and long conversion percentage. They don't even let Fields throw the ball on third and long. They just concede and run the ball. Or it's throw it to Bryce Hall on a screen and pray to God he can pick up the first. But this is bad. I mean, at least the Steelers had some names print. At least some names printed. DK usage, it led the team, but you got 6 points out of DK Metcalf. Rodgers was awful. 100-something yards passing. Interception off of Calvin Austin's hands. Missed DK on a wide open. Would have been touchdown down the field. And then that's probably Freiermuth right there. Roman Wilson. That's who led the way with the touchdown with 2 minutes and 57 seconds left. Roman Wilson. Pat Freiermuth. And there's Jonnu Smith down there. Who's this? D-Wash. Not good. Let's look at DK. They're
good thing.
Top 10.
Good thing they get the Bengals this week.
Highest paid receiver. There's DK right there. I mean, not good. They need when your second option is Calvin Austin, this isn't good. But inside of this game, Scott, I talked about this on Yahoo. Does it feel like there's been a shift in LA? Right, this was last week. And maybe I'm off, but it feels like Keenan Allen's role is starting to. Is he getting old? Is he getting tired? I liked, and it's not going to show up here, okay? Because the usage 4.27, 9 points. I liked what they did with QJ last week. They used him in a much different way. They threw him the ball in a lot of short area stuff, and he was doing stuff after the catch. They gave him a couple of downfield targets, but they really tried to get him the ball on some quick hitters. And I talked about it. I was like, I like the way that QJ was used. I would like to see some more of that from QJ. They just got the ball in his hands and let him try to make some plays. It's always an adventure getting it in his hands. But let's look at the Chargers over the last, 3 weeks? 3-4 weeks? I mean, it's McConkey. Gadsden seems like he's kind of taken over. And Keenan Allen is starting to tail off from where he was. I mean, QJ has gone all the way back. He missed a week, but Keenan Allen is starting to dip a little bit, Scott.
Yeah, I think the Keenan Allen usage is scaled back, maybe because they know they're going to need him down the stretch a little bit. You know what I mean? Like maybe they're going to need him in some more important games. I mean, I know all the games are important, but it is interesting with Oronde Gadsden now potentially out for the next week. Like you go back to Keenan Allen for this week to start. I mean, I've been a little upset with his production when I've started him because he's usually on my teams, one of those guys where you're just penciling him in every week. But
This is
I think you got to go back to him, given their environment.
It's changed. And I think without Joe Alt, like you saw how much it is not a joke. You saw how much duress and pressure Justin Herbert. I mean, there was a play where he got tackled from behind, and you're like, please just get up. I mean, he was sacked 5 times in that one. He didn't have a stellar game. It wasn't his best, and it's probably going to look a lot like that for the remainder of the season. We're going to see, but this is one where it looked one way to start the season, and it looks much different right now. It feels like Ladd and Oronde are the consistent options. Week 11 will be interesting to see what they do with Keenan Allen and QJ, especially if Gadsden is out.
So let me ask you this. Any interest in picking up one of the other tight ends if Gadsden is out? Because before Gadsden came in, the tight ends weren't getting any usage. So I don't know why they would go back to that or change it. But if they are kind of pushing Keenan Allen aside a little bit, it's still an environment that can support 3 guys. Any interest in either Conklin or Dissly?
Not really. I think if their team were put together the right way and they had all their pieces, especially up front, I'd have a little more interest. But here in week 10, I mean, when Gadsden went out, it was you got QJ touching the ball, you got Keenan Allen touching the ball. Conklin did a little something, nothing from Dissly. It was Darius Davis and Trey Harris way at the back. I want people to take a look at this, right? Because we just equate it to the receivers, but usage also is a product of the environment. And if the offensive environment, aka the line, is struggling, I don't think we're going to see those weeks 1 through 4 charts where they got 5 people all up in the top right. I think there was a reason this happened, and I do think that Joe Alt is a big part of is a big equation in this problem that we have here. So, not really. To answer that question, not really.
Okay. I'm just thinking because I know people are going to think, okay, the backup tight end, whoever it is. I think we agree it's Conklin over Dissly. If you were going to add one, just I mean, the way that he plays, I would probably put Conklin
football
over
reason
Dissly.
They're not around the Gadsden. I'm just Conklin and them do not get deployed the same way that Gadsden does. So if you're looking for a streaming tight end, I would probably look elsewhere than this situation immediately.
Okay, that's fair. Let's see. Any others come to mind? Green Bay without Tucker Kraft?
I want to go Tampa Bay.
Okay.
I want to go Tampa Bay. They were off of a bye. They came back off of the bye. Puka got his. Otton was heavily involved. I think he had a ton of targets in this game. And then Tez Johnson still
catches.
Right there. I know he had the 2 tuds. And this is how you know touchdowns, they factor into the points, but not as much of the usage, because with 2 touchdowns, he still isn't over, a 5.5 Trinity, but his points are 20 points from the 2 touchdowns. The usage drives everything. Otton, Puka, Tez Johnson, who's this back here? Sterling Shepard looks like he is now taking the back seat in this offense to Tez.
Yeah. I mean, in Otton, it's just the Otton splits are crazy when they have the receivers and when they don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like that last year. It's been like that this year. I don't have any Otton, so I haven't been able to benefit from it, but like that feels like one of those that Baker's pretty good. That's probably one of the ones you chase. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just depends on what price you can get them at. I mean, they have a top. Well, they're 14th in environment, but the way they're right below that range of the really good environments. They're in that second tier, and you can see on this chart. I mean, even in a game where they struggled a little bit, I mean, look at what Baker was able to produce with 3 different guys. So Otton's probably one of those that you just ride it until they get Godwin or Evans back, or neither one may come back for a month.
Well, let's look at the tight ends. Let's look at the tight ends from last week and just talk about any that you would have interest in getting. Yeah, Tyler Warren, who balled out this week, 8 for 99. You know who this is up here? Trey McBride, the big dog. George Kittle, they finally got him going inside of that offense. Down the stretch, Kittle looks good. Juwan Johnson played well. There's Cade Otton. There's Theo Johnson right there. We'll see how that does without Jackson Dart, potentially with the concussion. Dalton Schultz, good usage from him. Colby Parkinson scored. Loveland below. Let's look at some of the high usage, low performers. Fannin, Loveland, Sanders, Ertz, and Dallas Goedert from the Philadelphia Eagles. And then down here, we've got Kyle Pitts, Michael Mayer, Sam Laporta, and that's, Parkinson. Anything with some of the tight ends up here? You talked about Otton. You've got Kittle. You've got Juwan Johnson. Anything sticking out with the tight ends?
I think I would continue to go back to Kyle Pitts.
Yep.
I know Penix leaves a little to desired, but that's one of the ones I would continue to go back to if you need a fill in for, like, Kincaid is out. Maybe that's one we can look at, because Kincaid's been one of those like next tier tight ends. We talked about Pitts and Kincaid last week as guys you'd continue to buy, even though they might be a little expensive because of where they are in their dynasty careers. They are attainable. I mean, but let's look at the Bills real quick without Kincaid. Because I know people are going to be bidding on Jackson Hawes or Dawson Knox if they're out there. Kind of feels similar to the Chargers, don't you think? With the Bills tight ends. I mean, the Bills are kind of a mess, but it feels like somebody's going to go in. I mean, I know I've put in a couple bids already on Jackson Hawes where he's out there, but it feels like I'm just chasing some mythical tight end upside that probably doesn't really exist based on how he's been used.
You are
pretty much all year. I mean,
but that doesn't mean you don't bid on him. You are, but it doesn't mean you don't bid on them. But I've got low expectations for those guys. You're hoping they score a touchdown, right? Haas, look at the usage, even with the touchdown, a 1.67. And Dawson Knox did have more usage than he did because he's the trusted veteran. So you're hoping for a touchdown from Haas. But sure, if you want to bid on him for a week fill-in spot start, be my guest. Be my guest.
Would you go to Keon Coleman? Would you go to Keon Coleman at all with no Kincaid? Because, I mean, Kincaid is the best used bill that we have, and he sounds like he may be out a couple weeks at least.
I think he's in a spot to get opportunity. It's two guys, and you may not like him. We're not talking about elite in scores here, but this was like the first game Keon Coleman did a damn thing since week 1. So, sure. If you're fishing around in these waters, just know, like, let's just look at them over the course of the season. How good has it been for that Coleman and company? Like, this is where they are. You know,
5-5. I mean, it's basically all. I mean, I know Palmer might be back this week too, so that could throw a wrench into it. But I do think when there's an injury like the Kincaid injury, there is I don't want to say it's a live market, but there is a market that exists for guys like Shakir and Coleman that may not have existed before. So maybe you're on the sell side. Given the Bills environment, I'm probably more on the, if I can sell Shakir or Coleman now,
I would sell.
Get a second or something like that. I'll go fill in Mac Hollins for a fourth. And sell one of the Bills and net the second. And that's a small move you can make, but you end up getting a free second.
That is why I'm like, I would rather sell that guy and that hopium to you for a second, right? I feel like I can find 5-5 usage somewhere else in an offense that has been better at throwing the ball to the receiver. Like, this has not been a good environment for receivers. It has not. I don't care who's leading the way, it has not. This has not been the type of situation you look at and you be like, to have an MVP, to have Josh Allen, and you don't really even want the wide receiver 1. You're plugging in Buffalo's wide receiver 1 as your wide receiver 3 or flex. But nobody's feeling good about plugging in Keon or Khalil into their 1 or 2 spot. That's how unfruitful this environment is for pass catchers. And the defense isn't helping them out being as bad as they are. So I would be on the side of selling these guys to you. If I can get a second for either Keon or Khalil Shakir, I'd take it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's the type of move you make that it's just on the margins and you're taking your chances on you're having to put somebody else in there. But I bet you anybody that has Shakir or Coleman are excited to put him in there without Dalton Kincaid.
Agreed.
And that's where you can take advantage of it because there's probably somebody excited to buy one of those guys because they have a name.
You know, we're not getting out of here without talking about this. We've got to talk about 9. We got to talk about 9, J.J. McCarthy. Look at that at the top. Jalen Naylor. That's the big dog. What a game. What a game.
This Ray's just trying to rage bait everybody on this one, aren't you?
I mean, hey, 23 points. The points are the points. 8 Trinity Score.
Jalen Naylor is not. He is not Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison,
He's
or
better.
T.J. Hawkinson.
He's better than them.
He is not the name you want to see.
Dude.
I mean, didn't we talk about the Vikings a little bit last week when McCarthy came? This isn't the environment that you're probably going to want to bet on more than one guy. And then next week, the one guy is the guy you would have wanted to completely write off. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
How do you navigate?
What do you even do?
Let me look at Jefferson for the season. 814 below the line, 14 points per game. Is he trending? He's got to be trending for a career low in fantasy production. This has got to be a career low while still commanding majority of the opportunity in this offense. This is a mixture of McCarthy and Carson Wentz, but how good does this environment look, Scott?
It's pretty poor. And there's not enough concentration either. I mean, the fact that Jalen Naylor is even involved is annoying, given that the other 3 players are the ones that had all the value coming in. But it's not a situation it's slightly both situation. You all you can do is just hope that McCarthy gets better. That's it. You just hope he continues to get better. Like what other actionable step? Because I don't even think you can move any of the Vikings pass catchers for what they should have moved. So it really comes down to what's your bet on McCarthy going forward. You think he gets better? Then this should get better. This should be the worst that it gets. But I think that's the question. Do you think this is the worst that it gets? Yes or no? Because if you don't think it is, then you have questions about these guys' viability, not just the rest of this year, but next year too.
I don't know the answer to the question. I'm looking at the last 2 weeks, and I mean, Addison's taken a dip. Jefferson hasn't. I think it can get better, but I think both can be true. I think it could get better, but I also think it could get, it could be this. Could it not just be this? So we're talking about a rookie quarterback who throughout his collegiate career he wasn't out there throwing the pill all over the field. That wasn't his game, right? Mm-hmm. Am I misremembering McCarthy's collegiate profile? He was not Joe Burrow. Think about 2019 LSU. Thaddeus Moss, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. They had a third receiver. Like, everybody caught the ball. Like, there was an ability to distribute the football to a lot of different people, work through your progressions, work through your reads. That was never McCarthy. And right now in Minnesota, you've got these last 2 weeks, you got 3 receivers at the top. You know who is unplayable? I named T.J. Hawkinson. Like, you can't play him. And I've jammed him in every single week, Scott. Every week I'm jamming in Hawk because I paid whatever for him. Like, it's unplayable. You got 3, and this is just not what you want to see from a young quarterback. You got 3 receivers up here getting used right around the same amount with JJ. Similar usage. And one of the 3 is damn Jalen Naylor.
Yeah, he's becoming a pretty annoying gnat in a situation where the pie is not that big to begin with.
Scott, here's
I'm with you.
You know when the gnat doesn't bother you? When you're in a 3,000 square foot home and you got a couple of gnats in there, you'll be okay. But when you're in a tight, confined space and that gnat's buzzing around your face inside of a phone booth, it's a bigger problem. And that's what we have here. Like, this isn't a wide open room where 1 or 2 gnats aren't going. Cincinnati, Yossi Voss, you can call him a gnat if you want. He gets a touchdown here or there, but by and large, it's Chase and it's Higgins. Detroit, you could say Khalif Raymond is a little bit of a gnat, but by and large, it's Amon-Ra, J-Mo, it's Laporta. This Naylor is a big horsefly buzzing around your head in the phone booth, right? This is, I don't know, man.
That's the best analogy to close the show out. That I can't top that one. That is very, very true.
It's my goal every week.
It goes back to what's your bet on McCarthy. I do think this is one of those situations where you think it clicks for him, even if he's not throwing it 35 times a game. If it clicks, all those players have the potential to be above the line. I don't know if Jalen Naylor survives long-term. Hawkinson probably isn't a guy that I would bet surviving long-term, not with what this looks like, right? He doesn't look like a guy, he'll just bounce back next year. But Addison and Jefferson, like, you're probably at the low point with them if they're right on the quarterback. I mean, this is where this could end up looking like Bryce Young, right?
Oh,
where you're frustrated because everyone just basically stays in this range, and just the volume doesn't warrant anybody really being able to be startable, other than you just throw Jefferson in there because he's so good. But it's really a bet on McCarthy. Like, I kind of think that especially if you're willing to bet on somebody like Addison or even Hawkinson, like you don't want to root for McCarthy to continue to do what he's doing. He needs to get better. And can that get better in the course of an NFL season? Like, is it going to be better by week 14, week 15? Or it might take another offseason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a tough one. But I think it's a bet on McCarthy because the usage is already there. The usage looks like some teams that can produce a lot better, but it's the quarterback holding them back.
Any other ones you want to fly through quickly? I'd flash San Francisco on the screen. The last two games with Mac Jones, they've been competitive, but from a production standpoint, it's Jennings and Kittle. And Christian McCaffrey's not on here, obviously, but pass catchers wise, it's Kittle and Jennings here in San Francisco. And I do think Kittle is a nice, if you're a competitive team and you're looking for an elite potential outcome tight end down the stretch for a team that's still competitive, I wouldn't mind some Kittle on the roster. Are there any other ones you want to kind of pull up quickly before we get out? Let me just drop the Rams on here to see what they're looking like over the last couple of weeks. There's been some conversation about Puka Nakua, Scott. There's been some people talking about Puka and how Adams is doing more. And you look at the last couple of weeks, and he's right there with Puka Nakua the last couple of weeks. And I know Puka got banged up and left a little bit, but these are the last 2 weeks with Stafford, who's been on a heater. Terrence Ferguson's name popping in the tool. There's Terrence Ferguson getting some burn, but it's Adams and Nakua the last couple of weeks. And I think for the season, I know Puka's still there. It is there's the whole season.
Look at 9 and 10. I'll throw this out there. This is a good observation on the Rams. Look at 9 through 10. Okay. And I've had to make a couple of these moves this morning. You know who it's not? Kanata Mumfield or Jordan Whittington.
Correct.
Look at the next 4 guys after the 2 receivers. It's 4 tight ends.
Ferguson.
And honestly, other than probably Parkinson, any of the 3 could have a spike week. I'm not saying stream them because you don't want to see 4 tight ends getting used all in this cluster.
Yes.
But I finally went in and cut some Kanata Mumfields and Jordan Whittingtons today because even if Adams or Puka isn't there, it's still not the second receiver.
It's not them.
So it's kind of like there is no Puka role if he's not playing it.
No. So we can stop that.
That's an easy one that.
You know who the Puka role is when Puka's not playing?
Especially if,
it's Devonta Adams who's going to get fed the ball.
Right. But I did. That's something just for a lot of the people that listen that play like deep best ball leagues.
Right.
I'm still holding on to some of those Mumfields and Whittingtons. Even in the deepest of league, there's a better option out there. Hell, one of the Rams tight ends is a better option. Davis Allen is a better option than a Rams receiver. So
correct.
Ooh. There was one more that came to my mind real quick. Go to the Texans real quick. I think this is an interesting one.
All right.
That's only 1 week.
Week 10? Just week 10?
Week 10, Houston, yep.
Ooh.
What do you notice? We haven't seen many CJ Stroud weeks like this, Ray, where all the guys are above the line.
We have not.
You know?
What are you saying?
And what do you notice there's no controversy.
Okay.
I thought it was interesting that the backup came in and was able to support a couple different weapons. There's still too many guys, but look at the very bottom. And then go look at 7 through 10.
Mm-hmm. You said 7
and I think
through
what
10?
you're maybe noticing is you're seeing 7 through 10, but then also just week 10. You're noticing that they're starting to scale back the Christian Kirk and Xavier Hutchinson in favor of the rookies, which is what everybody wanted to see. It just took a little time. Like second half of the year.
Yeah.
I set a lineup this morning and I go, ooh, I can put Christian Kirk in if Stroud is back. No.
Yeah.
There's probably someone better I can throw in at receiver, but that's one of those that I think is interesting. You're seeing the rookies start to command a little better usage than they did at the beginning. So don't panic if you have Noel or Higgins.
All right. There it is, Scott. That's the show for today. We went a little longer. We've got the mega stream tomorrow. So if you're checking this out, make sure you pull up tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll have the whole DDFFB crew in the building talking all things Dynasty Fantasy Football. This is Trinity Report. We do it every single week. It's been fun to go through it this season with you, Scott. Make sure you check out the tool on ddffb.com, ddfantasyfootball.com, excuse me. Appreciate your support. Scott, anything you want to say to people before we get out of here, man?
Nope. 4 weeks left in the season. Find those little edges. That's why we do this show. It's not going through a lot of things that people couldn't navigate for themselves if they have the tool, but these are some of the things that I'm actively trying to do. The Mac Hollins swap and those types of things. So use it to your advantage. Take advantage of your Dynasty League market.
Get you some P-Wash. Get you some P-Wash and pull up tomorrow. So we'll see y'all next week. Appreciate y'all. Much love. We out. Peace.